Interesting one to follow. Mekinen, at the age of 30, has plenty of heroes from back home. Jessica Chelangat of Kenya, second here in 24, indeed second here in the 10K 4 years ago. She knows the city well, but is she back for a win? It'll be interesting to see her personal best, 66.13, set in Valencia 2 years ago. But there is the reigning champion, Rodrigue Quizera of Burundi, the defending champion. Personal best here last year, and then he improved in Valencia in October from 58.54, which he ran here, to 58.38. One of the very best half marathon runners in the world, and super consistent too, Quizera. Great track runner, great in cross country too. He was 8th in Australia back in 2023 in the world cross country. And this is his third race in Prague. He ran the 10K back in 2024 when he finished in 4th place. So all eyes on the start line then. They're about 3 minutes away from the gun going off. The organisation at this race is quite fabulous. The RunCzech organisation behind this event is based here in the city, put on 42 events across Czechia. It's the third largest running series in continental Europe. The starter will be the mayor of Prague, Bohuslav Svoboda, and his statement about this race and the movement that RunCzech have started here in Czechia is that Prague wants to promote health, movement and community. Well, the global broadcast of the Prague International Marathon, which is in a month's time, reached 74 million households in 106 countries last year. And this races like this have a massive economic impact on the city. They reckon RunCzech's events last year, the effect was 45 million euros, the total economic impact. And 32 million of that was generated by Prague-based events, although they do have races all over Czechia. They have the Napoli half marathon, the Naples half marathon. That was a month or so ago, where Kripa ran so fast. He ran just outside 59 minutes, not far off the European record. But this race attracts runners from far and wide. There's Krokova, the best of the Czech women. It attracts athletes from all over this race. Last year, 36,000 runners were from abroad of the races that RunCzech put on. That's 36% of the total. They had just over 100,000 in their various races through 2025, with a total of 147 nationalities. This race is a real magnet. If you've never been to Prague, you have got to put it on your bucket list. It is just magnificent. It's like something out of a Disney movie. It's so beautiful. So here we are then, the countdown clock pretty much ready to get these athletes underway. They tick just about every box to RunCzech. They've got a new movement going on in the race today called Running Doctors, and there are doctors running amongst the athletes with banners. There are others on bikes as well with defibrillators, so that athletes are always going to be safe. They have their own running shop called the Running Mall that serves all runners, training, chit-chat, coffee, sells gear here in the city. Massive shout out to all the hundreds and hundreds of volunteers along the course. Big thank you to them. Carlo Capalbo left a picture, the president of RunCzech, the founder of RunCzech, quite a few years ago now. And there's Quizera looking for a quick race here. If they do hit the splits they want, these men, they need to be moving at around 246 per kilometre to get down to around 58.20, 58.30 tempo. And the women, well, if they want to run, let's say something like 65 minutes, they'll need to run about 3:05 per kilometre. That women's course record, by the way, is 64.52 by Joycelyn Chetkoskay back in 2017. It was a world record when it was set. Well, they got underway there, the camera just missing the start. It was so focused on the mare who sets them off on their way. A few places where there are cobbles on the course, but they're good quality cobbles, if you know what I mean, and not really a hindrance to the athletes. They will be flying up at the front end, of course, and we know that the elite athletes, that elite pack of top men, will separate themselves from the rest very, very quickly indeed. And we will be concentrating on them. Obviously wish every single one of the 17,000, just over 17,000 runners a good day out on the roads of the Czechia capital. world's record set by Sebastian Sawe, the world's #1 marathon runner. That was in 2024 when he ran that 58:24. And it made Prague the 3rd fastest marathon in the world that year. Well, I wonder if they can mirror that performance today and get down in the mid-58-minute range. I'm sure that Quer is up for it. He won last year by just 2 seconds. It was a fabulous, if you get a chance, go and search for that coverage of that finish last year, their last few hundred meters. He and Lazoy of Kenya were knocking chunks out of each other in the last few hundred meters, and he ended up winning by 2 seconds from Lazoy. Did Quer. How appropriate, a bit of decent classical music on a sunny spring morning alongside the Vltava River. Generali have been a great companion to this race. Of course, big shout out to all the sponsors. No races, no events like this take place without sponsorship. It's the oil that greases the wheels, so to speak. A lot of patience required for the masses as they approach the start line. They are walking for quite a long time and then gradually can get into a jog and ease over that start line. And it's one of those courses too, because it follows the line of the river, the course up and down and across and through the old city. It goes through the old town square, the heart of Prague, surrounded by glorious Baroque buildings. It's one of those courses where if you are smart about it, you can actually see the athletes 3 or 4 times if you're prepared to jog a very short distance. And of course, races like this have a massive economic effect upon the city. Hardly a hotel room to be had. We had to vacate our hotel room at 8 o'clock this morning. I was hoping we'd get a late checkout, maybe 1 p.m., 2 p.m. before heading off to Berlin. But no, they said we need you out of the room by 10, and the race started at 10, so we had to be up and out of our room at 8 a.m. Right, front of the race, 2 pacemakers here. Our Rogers Minutum. He's wearing pacer 1 to the right there, and to the left is Andrew Kiprop, just 18 years old, and right up there with them very early on is Owen, as he's called, Owen Korea Kapkama, just 19 years old. He looks keen to shadow them, doesn't he? Very inexperienced, mind you, Kapkama. Before this year, he'd had just a road 10K back in Kenya. But he finished second at the Seville half marathon back in January in 60:25, then set a massive personal best in Naples on the 22nd of February when he ran 59:42. Talk about rocketing from zero to hero. That's Kapkama, the 19-year-old, tucked in behind the pacemakers. The timing mats, of course, will be at every 5-kilometer point along the course. The lead is now way past 1K. We'll bring in the splits as soon as we can. Patience, the order of the day. I think for those yet to cross the start line, everybody trying to get the best possible shot. And that's what it's like further back before you're gradually able to start moving forwards and get your race done. Of course, the chips, the electronic chips that each athlete is wearing on their number is what gets their start clock going, so to speak, when they cross the start line. When they cross that mat, that is when their official chip time kicks off. So if it's several minutes after the race, as is the case now with over 5 minutes on the clock, it doesn't matter. Their start time will be when they cross under that gantry, that start gantry. All shapes, all sizes, all creeds. Running does not judge. It is the most accessible sport. There are, and you may have heard me say this before, there's over 1 billion runners on the planet now. Shoe Company's doing very nicely out of it. But it is a sport that is non-judgmental. You don't need any equipment or facility. Just get outside your front door, start walking, break into a jog. If you're not a runner, just jogged for 10 seconds. These fellas will look at the gap behind them already. Not even 6 minutes on the clock. And the two pacemakers are tearing along. Rodrigo Quezada there, back in about 4th or 5th place. You can also see James Kipkoech, the 32-year-old in there. And they are flying. I can't wait to get a split at 5K, because that will tell us if they are on schedule. If they're on 60-minute schedule, they should go through 5K in about 14:13, something like that. But if they're on tempo for around 58:20, they should go through 5K in 13:50. Now, here are the leading ladies, and Caroline Makandi Gitonga, tall and lean and loping along beside the pacemaker there, looking very comfortable. She's the leader at the moment. And that pacemaker is John Maina Dirangu. He's a world-class athlete in his own right, says Dirangu, the 32-year-old. His personal best for the half marathon, 60:38. That was when he won Rome half marathon on the 1st of March. He's also a pretty good track runner. He's run 27:21 for 10K, so him moving along at this speed. And she is flying, actually, as Caroline Gitonga, isn't she? She looks great there on the far side, and she's got a gap. As we see these three now, the two pacemakers in the men's race, with Owen Kapkama going with them. Now, I don't know if he's shouting at them. He is Kenyan. They're both Kenyan. But he's forging a little gap over the pack there. He is, as I said, just 19 years old in that lighter vest between these two. His personal best coming in Naples, but he's very inexperienced, and I just hope his enthusiasm doesn't get the better of him here. He should probably sit back with the more experienced races like Quezada. This is a 21-kilometer race, remember. It's over 13 miles, and it can come and bite you in the tail end if you go out too hard, if you don't judge your effort right. And I do sort of feel as though Kapkama would be better off sitting back in that pack of, what, about 8 athletes behind, 8 or 9 athletes behind. In that pack is Quezada, of course, and Tadesse Werku, Gebreselassie, Cosmas Wangi Boy, James Kipkoech with a best of 59.50, and Calipus Lomwai, who has a best of 59.56. Indeed, there's 7 athletes in this field with bests under 60 minutes. But these pacemakers being urged on at the moment at a breakneck speed by Kapkama. He's from Kapengoria in Kenya. His coach, Edward Moti, I'm sure will be watching this with great interest and maybe a little bit nervous that his young lad has gone out so aggressively through these early kilometers. Almost 3 kilometers on the clock now. In fact, just over 3 kilometers on the clock now. It's just adjusted. But here they go. They are moving now on the eastern side of the river, the Vltava. There it is. That's the Charles Bridge in the background, right of picture. It is one of the most beautiful bridges in the world, the Charles Bridge. It's a 14th century bridge built in the 1300s, lined with statues of Catholic saints. It is quite magnificent. I remember being lucky enough to walk across it about 40 years ago and buying some little oil paintings, watercolor paintings, which hang on the walls of my apartment. It is one of those cities you don't want to forget. It's nice to be reminded that human beings can build something quite so incredible, and it survives war and all sorts of other traumas. Indeed, when the Second World War ravaged much of Central Europe, the Czech government said to the Germans, no, you come on through. We don't want our city destroyed. We don't want it flattened like so many others. And so it remained in very good shape, Prague, unlike many cities around it. Resistance was the lack of resistance was the best policy at that time. Well, in the women's race, you can see there to right of picture, looking very, very comfortable now. The pace seems to have settled down a little bit. Caroline Gitonga, and she's got there's the pack to the extreme right of picture. You can see the second women's pack, what, about 50 or 60 meters down behind Caroline Gitonga and that pacemaker John Minor Dirangu. Also there is the top Czech male, Jan Frisch. And I'd like to have seen him moving a little bit quicker than that, because they're moving probably at around 65-minute tempo. He's the extreme left of picture there in the dark kit. He did say to me yesterday, I have a small pitter-patter stride, which doesn't really lend itself to road racing. He's in that dark strip beside the pacemaker, Dirangu. Hunched shoulders there on the part of Gitonga. They have gone out incredibly aggressively. 4K pass at the front end of this race, so the 5K point less than 3 minutes away. The women at 3.6K, the men at 4.1K. You can see top left of your screen, that blue number 4.1K changes to pink when we're on the ladies, 3.7K for the ladies. So they're about 500 meters down already. The leading lady there, Caroline Gitonga. She ran 2 half marathons last year, did Caroline Gitonga. She won in Drammen in Norway in 68 minutes. That was back in September. And then she won in Ravenna, setting that personal best to 66.26 back on the 9th of September. A couple of really good races from her. Comes from Meru in eastern Kenya, about 150 kilometers north of Nairobi. And she tends to win a lot, whichever distance she runs, whether it's 10K or half marathon. I was going through her card last night. Gitonga doesn't lose very often. And it looks like, at the moment at least, left her picture there, she's heading for a win here today, because that women's pack, well, it is behind her, but I think it's gaining on her. I think it's closed a little bit. It's only about 30 meters down now. It was 50 or 60 meters a few minutes ago. And the men's field, well, they're at 4.5 kilometers, and still the relatively inexperienced 19-year-old Kapkama tucked in here behind the 2 pacemakers. He's following them as if he's tied them by a piece of string, with that main pack of about 8 athletes 30 meters down. We're about a minute away from the 5-kilometer point, so it's going to be something around 14 minutes from the men's race. And if they're on 59 minutes pace exactly, they want to go through in 14 minutes. If they want to go down towards 58.20 there or thereabouts, they need to go through 5K in about 13.50. But I think this is sensible running from the pack. They're not desperate to go with these pacemakers. They won't want Kapkama rather, in 3rd place. They're behind these 2 pacemakers to build a lead of any real substantial length. They won't want to get 30 or 40 seconds away, but 5 or 10 seconds at this stage of the race is perfectly okay. Kapkama, well, Moti, his coach, will have his heart in his mouth watching this, I'm sure. He's a Manchester United fan, is Kapkama, the 19-year-old there between them. Owen on his bib, Owen Korea Kapkama. And the United have been showing some pretty good form recently, so I wonder if that's got his tail up, so to speak. Last year, he ran just a 10K, a domestic 10K in Kenya in 32 minutes, but of course that was at about 7,000 feet. And then 3 cross-country races did Kapkama. The masses, well, there's still many thousands of them waiting to cross the line patiently, even though the elite, the first gun went off almost 15 minutes ago now, just waiting for the men's time at 5K. There it is, 13.52. 13.52 for the men at 5K. That is nice and quick. And the pack, 5 minutes, 5 seconds down. That's Kapkama and the 2 pacers at 5K. 13.52. Now that is super quick. Let me tell you, that puts him on schedule for about 58.30. And that would represent a personal best by over a minute. I don't know how long these pacemakers can keep going, but the idea of pacemakers, you can see pacer 1, pacer 2 on these bibs, left of picture, is to set up a nice steady rhythm, take the burden of running at a hard tempo from the front off the elite athletes. And if they can get to sort of 10K, something like that in, what, around 27.30, 27:40, 27:50. That would set it up very nicely indeed. The target at 10K, incidentally, if they keep running 2:46 per kilometre, which is about what they're on, is 27:44. Now, that is world-class racing for 10K, and it's not even halfway. So a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of these two pacemakers then. Pacer M1 to the left of the picture there is Roger's Blimo Minutum. Pacer M2 to the right is Andrew Kiptu Kiprop. That pack, that men's pack, just easing along nicely. They're almost using this leading trio as a gauge for their own tempo, which is okay. You don't ideally want a pacemaker 30 or 40 meters ahead of you, but that it's a lot better than nothing. Right of picture, well, she's gradually forging a bit of isolation for herself, isn't she? Caroline Makandi Gitonga says she relaxes by watching movies and she loves music. She's single, but she has a child of 4, does Caroline Gitonga. And her one race this year was a wing in Castellon back in late February, about a month ago. I'll talk about that in a minute when we get back to Gitonga. Here's the situation in that men's race. Now, they have gone out very aggressively, and that's a good thing, because don't let's forget that a new world record pending ratification was set just a few weeks ago in Lisbon by Jacob Kiplimo, who ran 57:20. That was on the 8th of March, just a couple of weeks ago. Kiplimo of Uganda, and his first 5K, it was insanely quick. Get this, in the Portuguese capital, he ran 13:28 for his first 5K. He went through 10K in 27 minutes flat, exactly 27 minutes. I mean, there's not many people on the planet who can run faster than that for 10K in a race, never mind about before halfway in a half marathon. But Jacob Kiplimo is a very special talent. Won the World Cross Country in Tallahassee back in early January. Here's the chasing pack, though. Rodriguez to the right of picture in the purple, just behind Samuel. Well, that's Samuel Masai, the 25-year-old. He ran 58:59 to come 5th in RAC, the Ras Al Khaimah half marathon, back in the middle of February. That was a fabulously fast race. He won in Hamburg in June last year in 61 minutes. And then that huge personal best in Ras Al Khaimah, about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Now, here's the chasing pack in that women's race. And it includes Cynthia Chalanga Chepkwony. She has best of 67:20. She's the tall figure there in the front. 2 half marathons last year. She won in Krems in Austria in 68:34. And then she set that personal best in Lisbon back in October. And look at the gap here now. This is great. Tour de France style. We're ripping away from that chasing trio to the leader, Caroline Gitonga. There she is. And she's got a gap of, what would you reckon that is? 60 meters? Something like that. Probably about 10 seconds. And she's built for it, isn't she? Long and lean. Great power to weight ratio. So lean up top. And the pacemaker, Dirangu, looking very calm and relaxed too. In fact, they're both very similar build. He's just about 1.3 times the size of her. But I have got written on my notes, favourite question mark on recent form in brackets, because such has been her form. She's going to be tough to beat today, but she has gone out very aggressively indeed. Didn't get that women's 5K time. Sorry about that. If it came up on screen, you saw it and I didn't. But she, I'm sure, has gone out fast here. If she's gone out in anything like, 15:30 for the first 5K, she's on schedule for something in the mid-65s. Now, this is interesting because Owen Kapkama is gradually being reeled in now by that chasing pack. You've got to admire his aggression and enthusiasm, but probably the wisest words that could have been whispered in his ear with a few minutes to go before the gun would have been, respect the experience of the pack. You know, shadow somebody like Quizera. There's that U-turn in the men's race. That's at 7K. That's the southernmost point of the course at just past 7K. Now they've taken that left-hand U-turn and they're heading northwards now with the Vltava River on their right. And then at about 10k, they cross the Jiraskov Bridge, head across the river, and will take another turn and head south again. So a few twists and turns on this course, and I'm just counting. I think only 2 actual sort of U-turns. That was the first of them. They're not ideal. They slow you down a little bit, but in 21 kilometers, 13 miles, if you have to make a couple of U-turns, then you'll survive to fight another day. Well, can you believe there's thousands yet to cross the start line, and the elite have been running for over 20 minutes, but it is, they are fed across the start line very, very carefully so that there's no pressure on the course. So if you spread your runners through the start line at a nice steady pace, a release pace, so to speak, then of course you don't over-pressurize the facilities on the course, the water stations, the medical, and so on. And it's very wise. It's what all the big races do now. They release the athletes through the start line at a very, very controlled rate instead of letting them pour through super fast. And then it puts too much pressure and too much crowding on different parts of the course. That men's pack left in picture is 2, 4, 6, 8. I think it's 9 strong. And you can see now to the right of that group, Owen Kapkama has dropped back from that lead he was building with the 2 pacemakers to rejoin the pack. And maybe his enthusiasm has got a little bit ahead of him there. Kapkama rocks from side to side, doesn't he? He's a big, powerful lad. Broad shoulders, Kapkama there, with Owen on his vest. Rodriguez beside him, as calm and as cool as a cucumber, the defending champion. Yona Kiprop Matejko is there as well, right in the middle of that pack in the white vest. Matejko, only 21 years old. He was 8th in Dubai back in early February in 61.16. Trains at Kaptagat with a certain Eliud Kipchoge and Jeffrey Kamworor. And have you heard of Faith Kipyegon, world record holder at 1500, double Olympic champion? She is one of the great legendary athletes that Matejko trains with. So he's got probably the best training group in the world for distance racing. These pacemakers just staying, what, 6 or 8 meters ahead of the pack, though. Minatum and Kiprop. Minatum to the left, Kiprop to the right, looking a little bit busier in his arm carriage. Andrew Kiprop, isn't he? He's only 18 years old, learning his trade here as a pacemaker and a racer. Moses Cherry up there, the left of the pack in the white and yellow vest. He's a 22-year-old, hasn't raced since October. Last year he ran 4 10Ks. He won all 4, 3 of them in Italy and 1 in Slovakia. His best was 28.09. And he ran a couple of halves last year. He was 6th in Cremona in the Italian National Championships, bizarrely, in 62.06. And then he set his personal best in September, middle of September in Krems in Austria when he ran 60.29. So he's moving at personal best tempo. It is a day, I have to tell you, for fast racing, for personal bests, because conditions out there on the roads of Prague, as you can see from this shot of Caroline Gitonga, are absolutely perfect. It's a lovely, cool morning. It's a windless day, the sun beating down, but it's not too hot. Last year, funnily enough, when they had the Prague Marathon in April, it was a very, very warm day. The organisers, Run Check, were unlucky. It was too warm for marathon racing, really, and it made it a very tough day for many of the elite athletes. But this is a sunny morning, but a cool morning, and that makes it absolutely perfect with the lack of wind. And Gitonga here, well, she is shifting. There's no doubt about it. The men have reached 9K. The women, well, that lead woman, Gitonga, has built up a big up lead, hasn't she? I thought this pack was catching her 5 minutes ago, this little trio. And it is Jessica Chalanga, Cynthia Chepkwony, and Sintayehu Lewaten Haile Michael of Ethiopia, one of the few Ethiopians in this race. It tends to be dominated by the Kenyans this half marathon. 21 times from the previous 25. The race has been won by Kenyan men. And of the previous 25 editions, the race has been won on the women's side by 16 times by Kenyans, with just 3 Ethiopian winners. On the men's side, the Ethiopians have won just a couple of times. Course record on that men's race, just reminding you, 58.24 by Sawe 2 years ago. And the women's course record, 64.52 back in 2017. It was 9 years ago now, by Joycelyn Jepkosko, and it was a world record at the time. Of course, the women's world record now is that almost intergalactic science-fictional 62.52 by Letisenbet Gide in Valencia. Some 5 years ago now. It was in October 2021. Well, this men's pack, they are motoring. That's a lovely shot, isn't it? I'm liking this camera angle. Close to the ground, nice and low, way below their waist height. And they are absolutely flying, and the pressure is being applied, and 1 or 2 athletes just beginning to struggle with holding onto this tempo being laid by the pacemakers. We're about 300 meters from the 10K point, and the pacemakers, I have to say, are doing a fabulous job. Samuel Masai there in the orange, central picture. He looks pretty comfortable now. He is, I think. It looks to me like he's just shadowing Quizera of Burundi. Quizera, so experienced. Last year, Quizera there left a picture, ran 7 cross-country races. He won 4 of them, and in the other 3, he was second. His consistency on all surfaces is almost unmatched. He's a fabulously quick runner on the roads. He set a national record last year in April in Herzogenaurach in Germany, the headquarters of his sponsor Adidas. 26.54 he ran for 10K on the roads there. And these fellas now are reaching 10K, and it's 27.41 on the clock. Now, they cross the river at 10K. That's the Yeraskov Bridge, and they'll have the dancing house on their on the corner as they reach the other side of the river. I'm waiting for that 10K split to come up, but I think it was around 27.45. There it is, 27.50 for the men's race. Absolutely perfect. They were looking for around 27.44, 27.50, and that is spot on. That is brilliant pacemaking by Minatum and Kiprop. Congratulations to them. They really set it up nicely. Leonard Barseton is right up there. He's on schedule for a personal best here today. His personal best, the 31-year-old Kenyan. Leonard goes back to Valencia 2019, 7 years ago. Didn't race last year. I'm wondering if he was injured. His last race was when he came 4th in the Vienna Marathon in April 2024, almost 2 years ago. Barseton, though, back with a bang and holding his own at the moment. He's a great track racer, coached by James Abenyo. Lives in Iten, the town of runners. Rodriguez now at the front. Now, the pacemakers dropped out. No, there's pacemaker 1 there towards the back, just dropping that left-hand shot, just easing off the throttle is Minatum. He's got them to 10K in good order. They've done a truly world-class job, those pacemakers. Well done, Rogers Plimo Minatum and Andrew Kiptu Kiprop, the 18-year-old of the pair. In fact, Minatum's only 20, so the pair of them, relatively inexperienced, but they have been fantastic this morning. The target is 58.30 and 27.50 at 10K. That has them on schedule for about 58.45. So sets it up nicely. Athletes of the caliber of Quizera will always accelerate over the last kilometre or so, and then you can pick up quite a few seconds. Well, look at the situation in the women's race. Gitonga, the gap to her and that chasing trio has grown enormously. That chasing trio, remember, Jessica Chalangat, who was second here a couple of years ago. Cynthia Chepkwony, who was second here last year. She knows this course well. And Sintayehu Lewitin Haile Michael, who was third here last year in her personal best of 68.41. So, at the moment, Gitonga, as she approaches 10K, and that 10K split coming up for the ladies any second, she has dominated this race and destroyed the field up to this point, but it's not halfway yet. Caroline Makandi Gitonga. What's her split at 10K? I think it'll have been just outside 30 minutes. But if she's to be on schedule for something down around 65s, she needs to have gone through in around 30-30, something like that. Let's have a look. I'm sure that split will come up very shortly. There's a mat. Was that the 10K mat? If so, it was about almost exactly on 31 minutes. And that will have her on 65-25 tempo. Well, the wheelchair race about to get underway. The assisted athletes race about to get underway. Back at the start line. The sport can be fully inclusive, and in all good races it is, and that's a wonderful sight. Of course, charities are a massive part of the picture here in this race. And it's so good to see all these athletes being helped. The main charity partner is the Human Safety Net. There you are, go and surf for that. The Human Safety Net. It's the official charity of Generali in this 26th edition of the Prague Half Marathon, which was first held back in 1999. It is, of course, the World Athletics Elite Label race. Quite a few of the run check races are just that. Not looking for any records here. It's all about participation for those who have just started. Big pack of them. What, about 50 athletes left to picture there, getting their Prague Half Marathon underway. Right of picture, back to that men's elite race. And it is whittling down. It was about 8 or 9 strong, wasn't it, 10 minutes ago? And we're down now to, what, 6? I think the pacemakers, of course, have gone, having set them on their way in wonderful style. And I just get the feeling that Quizera in that dark purple strip is almost the Pied Piper here. He seems to be calling the shots, holding this tempo. We know he's in great shape. He said he hopes for a personal best. That would mean running down around 58:30. And I think I heard him mumble something at the press conference yesterday about a world record, but I don't think that's on here today. He'd have to fly through his second half. I think if he can get down in the low 58s, that would be fabulous stuff for him. Last year, he was one of 4 men who went under 60 minutes here. He won by just 2 seconds from Lazoy Rodriguez. Now, looking at Moses Cherry up there in that yellow strip. He too lives in Eldoret, although he trains in Naivasha. He says his inspiration was his uncle. 12K there in about 33:30 in this men's race. There's the dancing house behind them. Very, very famous because of its weird architecture. I don't know about dancing house. It looks like it's had a couple of beers. But dancing in different style, I think you could say, the old dancing house. Anyway, let's just extrapolate for you 33:30, what that means. Has the pace slowed since the pacemakers dropped out a few minutes ago? 33:30 has them on schedule here for, yeah, about 58:45, something like that at the finish line. So, assuming they can hold this tempo, we are in for a very, very quick race here today. There's no doubt about that. And Gitonga, well, she's going to make it a quick women's race as well. Two very contrasting races, aren't they? Gitonga, an out-and-out leader in this women's race, albeit with her male pacemaker helping her along there, John Minor Dirango. Now, the good news for her is that he can help her the whole way. The bad news for the chasing pack, the trio behind, is that they don't have a pacemaker. And I always find that a little bit uncomfortable when you get a breakaway in a women's race and a male pacemaker can help the leader, or pacemakers can help 1 or 2 of the athletes down in front, and then athletes chasing behind have to do their set their own tempo. So that chasing trio in the women's race don't have assistance. The leading athlete does have assistance to stay clear of them. And you could argue, well, good for her. Gitonga, she's taking the advantage. She's grabbed the bull by the horns, and she's wanting to run away with the race and run a super fast time. But I don't always feel entirely comfortable with that situation. This men's race, well, it couldn't be more fair, could it? They've all been able to feed off the two brilliant pacemakers through the first half, and then from 10K onwards, it's down to real racing. It's going nicely, really nicely. 13K coming up. Owen Kepkama there, left a picture, just tucked in as one of this group of 6. James Kipkoech following Rodriguez, shadowing Rodriguez, the leader, who seems very happy with that slight forward lean, lovely, powerful, galloping stride he's got, hasn't he? Does move nicely. Lovely, economical stride from Rodriguez, and he looks so comfortable at this super quick tempo. If you've joined us in the last few minutes, let me remind you, he went through 10K in 27.50. They're on schedule here for something around 58.30, 58.40. It's going really well. Samuel Chebole Masai in the orange there on the far side is looking pretty comfortable. The Arsenal fan, he'll be happy with the way his team are playing these days. Inspired by his brother, he said, Masai. That's what motivates him to keep running. Was second in the Kenyan cross-country championships back on the 2nd of March, where he dead heated with a certain Sebastian Sawe. And on that day, only 3 weeks ago, he beat a certain Jeffrey Kamwaro. So that gives you some idea of the form of Masai. He has Samuel on his number, his Christian name. It's only his 3rd ever half marathon. And in Ras Al Khaimah, back in middle of February, he ran 58.59. His debut was in Hamburg back in June last year. He ran 61.52. Then he improved by nearly 3 minutes in Ras Al Khaimah, almost a 3-minute PB to 58.59. And I'll tell you what, he's going to run a PB here today as well if he can hold on to this. He's going brilliantly well. To right of picture in the red, just trying to see who that is. I think that was one of the Ethiopians. Yes, it's Tadesse, excuse me, it's Tadesse Worku Gebreselassie. He is about the only Ethiopian in this lead pack. And he is somebody to watch. Looks very controlled, doesn't he, in that red strip. 4th in the world cross-country back on the 10th of January. Only 4 seconds off 3rd place. He's coached by the well-known Ethiopian coach Gemadu Dedefu. And that world cross-country in Tallahassee has been his only race so far in 2026, so he comes here really fresh. Said he was inspired by Kenenisa Bekele. And he's just shadowing here Samuel Masai and Quizera, the leader. This is turning into a pretty special race. Now, interestingly, the man in yellow, Moses Chariot, just beginning to drop back, left of picture. He's out of focus. That's never a good sign. And he is struggling. And it's to be expected. His best is 60.29, and he's on schedule to run almost 2 minutes quicker than that. So no wonder he's suffering. Now, if he can hold it together, his last 6 or 7K, he's going to run a huge PB. He's going to break 60 minutes for the first time ever. There they go, under the powder tower. That used to be a tower in which they stored all the city's gunpowder. It's one of the old gates of the city. Wouldn't want to get a direct hit in that, would you? Yeah, the Powdergate Tower, to give it its correct name. And they are at, that was completed in 1475. Here you go, a bit of culture for you. The Powdergate Tower, it's the starting point for many races in the city. Well, he's turning the screw here, isn't he? Rodrigo Quizera. I think he senses that they're suffering. 2/3 distance, there or thereabouts, and he's pushing on hard. 14 kilometers behind them. And Rodrigo Quizera is gradually turning it up notch by notch and applying the pressure to those with him. And at the moment, only Samuel Chebole Masai has gone with him. He looks so relaxed, Quizera. It's almost an optical illusion. He really doesn't look like he's working hard, but if you're a smooth runner, you can just internally turn up the accelerator a tiny bit without anybody being able to see. Now here they go. across the famous Old Town Square. It's the heart of Prague. It's famous for its markets throughout the year. You can see some stalls there. Look, beautiful place for a Sunday morning out in the spring, surrounded by brilliant Baroque buildings, Gothic churches. The Church of Our Lady before Tin is there. The astronomical clock is over to the right of picture. They wouldn't have noticed that. It produces a rather special little ceremony every day. Some of it going back to the 12th century. The Old Town Square is incredible. They've blitzed through it, and now they're on Paris Street, where all the designer shops are, heading back towards the river. The lead pack, where they'll take a right-hand turn, and then they'll be into the final quarter of the race, and effectively on the home straight almost. And Quer looks strong. He is going to run fast, there's no doubt about it. It's been set up wonderfully by the pacemakers. That third quarter of the race, that 5K between 10 and 15K, has been quick, and he is heading for a special time here today. Believe me, it could be even in the low 58s. Back to this women's race, though, and Gitonga in glorious isolation, but for the pacemaker, Dirangu. She set off at an incredibly fast pace, I think sub-65-minute pace, maybe even course record pace. That course record, let's just remember, it might be under threat, 64.52. Now, the men at 15K, let's hope that split comes through. There's the chasing trio in the women's race, and it's still Cynthia Chepkwony who leads, the tallest of the three, but they are quite a long way back on this cobbled section of the race. They're yet to pass through the Old Town Square. And of course, Caroline Makandi Gitonga has got a pacemaker with her who can help draw her further clear of this trio. For my money, that doesn't make it particularly fair. Speaking of fair, he's run a very fair race so far, hasn't he? Rodrigo Quer. And just one man hanging onto his coattails, Samuel Chibole Masai, who was always going to be a threat. Came fifth in Ras Al Khaimah on the 14th of February in 58.59. On paper, Quer about 20 seconds back. There's that 15K split. 41.42. 41.42. Now, let's go to the charts. 41.42 is something down around, yeah, still around 58.30, 58.40 tempo. And that course record, let me just remind you, 58.24 by Sawe. But you know what? While that might seem a little out of reach at the moment, I think Quer is moving well enough to get it. He's upping the tempo here. Look at the turnover of Quer's legs there, left of picture. He's really turning the screw here. He knows he's broken this field, apart from the stubborn resistance of Samuel Chibole Masai in second place. And he's trying here to break Masai. But what he's got to do here, Rodrigo Quer, is judge this pressure carefully, because he could destroy himself. If you go too hard here, trying to break your opponent, you could misjudge it and have a tough last couple of kilometers. But he's doing it right at the moment on this slight downhill section beside the Vltava. So they're at almost 16K, passing one or two bridges. Very shortly they'll go past the fabulous Prague Hilton Hotel that is the host hotel for these athletes. It's a massive hotel that hosts the athletes at all these big Prague races, and it is a wonderful host hotel. There's a little dip as they go under one of the roads that makes a bridge across the Vltava. And that's the chasing, that's the gap between the chasing pack, left of picture, top left of picture, and this leading pair is what, about 50 meters? No more, maybe 50 or 60 meters. The women still at 14.5 kilometers. Rodrigo Quer, lovely fella, speaks perfect English, very, very eloquent in his press conference yesterday. He's single, no kids, he's only 26. His home city is Bujumbura, the capital of Burundi. But he lives in Castellón, in Spain, just south of Valencia. Trains in Addis, sometimes Addis Ababa. And he has trained in the past with a certain Yomif Gejelcha, who is the official world record holder at the moment with 57.30 from Valencia in October 2024. That 57.20, 10 seconds quicker from Lisbon, a couple of weeks ago. 3 weeks ago actually, by Jacob Kiplima is still pending ratification. But Quizera, well, he associates with only the best. Came 8th in the world cross country back in 2023. He's fabulous on the track. He's run 3:37 for 1500. That's worth about 3:55 for a mile. He's run 26:56 on the roads for 10K. He's got pretty much everything in his armory. And I'll tell you what, Caroline Gitonga here will have added to her armory, won't she, after this race today, assuming there was no disaster. She could be heading for a stormingly fast time here and a big win in this Prague half marathon. Gitonga, she's dominated. We know she's in fabulous shape, and importantly, she knows she's in fabulous shape. That win in Castellon over 10K a month ago in 29:34 puts her right at the top of the world rankings for 10K, and when you bring that speed and strength to the half marathon, you will produce special things. Well, Quizera just had a little glance over his shoulder there at Samuel Masai. I wonder if he's thinking, how long is this guy going to stick with me? We've got a real race on our hands, and that is brilliant. We've got not only a super fast contest unfolding here in Prague at this 26th edition of the Generali Prague Half Marathon, but fast times and a great dust-up over the final few kilometers. They're approaching 17 kilometers. They've got 4K to go, just over 4K to go. That'll be 10 laps of your local athletics track, if you want it in track terms. And Samuel Masai will not give in. Indeed, he's looking pretty comfortable at the moment alongside Rodrigo Quizera. It's almost a sense of deja vu I'm getting here, because last year Quizera had Isaiah Lazoy, another Kenyan, alongside him in the last couple of 100 meters, and he had to up it to the absolute top gear to win a year ago by 2 seconds from Lazoy. And he's getting stubborn resistance today from yet another Kenyan. He must be thinking, how many more of them? But of course, the East African nations, Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Uganda, Tanzania, they just churn out these fabulous distance runners year after year. And for the likes of Quizera, who's becoming a bit of a constant, he doesn't know who is going to turn up, but he can be fairly assured that somebody's going to turn up and race well against him. Now, perhaps for the first time left of picture there in quite a while, Samuel Masai is not up alongside Quizera. He's just a couple of meters down. Is that an indication that there's a chink in his resistance, a chink in his armor? Right of picture, Gitonga strides on her merry way. She's got a big lead now. I'm waiting for that. I didn't see a 15K time come up for the women. This is the leading group: Samuel Chalobolai, Masai and Rodrigo Quizera. Apologies if that 15K time came up for the women. I didn't see it. It would be great if it could be flipped up again. But Quizera and Chabole. Well, we saw just now the pack in the background. They've got a lead, I think. Look there, left of picture. They've only got about 100 meters on that chasing group, maybe not even that. And it's Gebreselassie, Tezese Worke Gebreselassie, back in third place in the red. I don't know if you can see, extreme left of your picture. Probably about 80 meters down, in fact. They haven't given up, and that would suggest that Tadesse Worku Gebreselassie is also heading for a fabulously fast time here. What is interesting here in this front pair is that Quizera is still calling the shots. He's working hard here. Lovely bouncy style he's got. And is this the significant moment in the men's race? The gap is a couple of meters. If that stretches to 3 or 4 meters, that could be Samuel Chabole Masai having to hand the victory to Quizera. And it is 3 or 4 meters. It's growing quickly. And I think Masai has hit the blocks. I think his race, as he goes through 18K in about 50 minutes, almost exactly 50 minutes. I think this is the moment in the men's race where Quizera has gone clear. There's no contest in the women's race. Gitonga has destroyed that women's field. kilometre after kilometre, she's eased away from the trio behind her. But Quezada here has had to work incredibly hard this last 15 minutes or so to break Masai. And I think at last he's done it. 18 kilometres on the clock, 3K to go. And Rodrigo Quezada of Burundi looks like he's heading for a successful defence of his title here at the Prague Half Marathon. He trains with Thierry Ndikumwenayo, who is another fabulous Burundian distance runner. But he does live in Castellón, Spain, where, of course, there are fabulously fast races on a regular basis. Climate absolutely perfect, of course, down in Spain. I was talking to somebody yesterday who's just come back from a week in Mallorca, and he said, oh, it was glorious. It was around 20, 22 every day. I mean, perfect. Whereas up in Northern Europe, of course, it's been a pretty wet last couple of months. The Burundian Quezada taking a little glance over his shoulder there, and he got the best possible view he wanted. It was a gap between himself and his long-time companion, Samuel Chebole Masai, of about 30 meters, and he has broken the Kenyan. There's no doubt about it. Slight left-hand curve here as he heads towards 19K, and then it'll be a left-hand turn over the final time over the Vltava River. It'll be the Lubensky Bridge that he will cross, a big traffic bridge to the north of the city. He'll head westwards over that bridge and then take a left once over the bridge back towards the finish line where he started less than an hour ago. He's going to go significantly under 60 minutes today. I think quite a long way under 59 minutes. So he's got, what, about 7 minutes of running to go, probably less. Right of picture, you can see Dirangu, who has done a fabulous job coaxing along Gitonga here. Don't know if she's going through a tough patch or if she's had a word with him. They are both, of course, from Kenya. Gitonga is 29. Dirangu, the pacemaker, is 32. He is a world-class runner, so he's comfortable at this pace, around 65-minute pace. And he's able to guide her here and adjust his form according to what she needs. 19K there for the leader, Quezada. That 19K mark coming up, what, about 52.40. Now a sharp left-hand turn, and this is where he begins to head towards the Lubensky Bridge. And it's now him against the clock. 19 kilometers in about 52, 55, something like that. Slight lean into the upslope as he gets up onto the Lubensky Bridge here from Rodrigo Quezada of Burundi. He won here last year in 58.54. Should be heading for a quicker time than that here today. Do you know, my notes last year, when he came here last year, he hadn't broken 60 minutes, and my notes actually said he should be running a long way below 60. Well, of course, he ended up running 58.54. He ran a massive personal best. In fact, his time last year when he won Quezada was a personal best by 2 minutes 59 seconds, almost by 3 minutes. Well, the women are at just past 17 kilometers. The men at just past 19 kilometers. Approaching 19.5 kilometers is Rodrigo Quezada. And he's up onto the bridge now. This is the Lubensky Bridge. And you can see in the background, Samuel Chebole Masai, to his credit, is still running strongly. He's probably about 60 meters down. He could well be heading for a big personal best here today, but at least Quezada has worked so hard this last 15 minutes or so that he hasn't got a sprint on his hands over the final couple of hundred meters. Now, it's debatable whether or not having a sprint and an opponent over the last 200-300 meters, it leads to a better time than if you're on your own. If you're on your own, you don't tighten up, you can stride out and relax, but still produce wonderful form. So I don't know what the textbooks say about that, whether you end up running better if you're solo, unhindered by somebody else beside you, or if you run quicker with an opponent. I don't think there's any hard and fast rule, actually. It depends from one individual to the next, but he's moving nicely now, Quezada, isn't he? He's really moving strongly. He's crossed the river. He now will take a sharp left and drop down towards the finish. Checks his clock there. 17.7k for the women. Approaching 20k here now is Rodrigo Quezada. It has been a quite magnificent performance from him. Not 57.20 pace, he couldn't live with a virtual Jacob Kiplimo if the Ugandan was out on the roads of Prague this morning. It would be lovely to see him here in Prague too, wouldn't it? Remember, Kiplimo running an unofficial world record yet to be ratified, 3 weeks ago in Lisbon, in the Portuguese capital, 57.20. But this will be super fast here today. 20k for Quezada. And he's gritting his teeth now and working very hard. And the gap back to Masai, his one-time companion, is growing all the time because he is accelerating here. Certainly looks like it to me. This is going to be fabulous. This is going to be quick, believe me. The women at 18k, the men at 20k. We haven't seen an official split yet at 20k for Quezada. He's had one or two glances at his watch, but he will know he's running well here because he has destroyed a very strong field. 7 men on the start list have broken 60, and he put most of them to bed soon after halfway with just that stubborn resistance from Kenya's Samuel Chabole Masai. Be great to see that 20k split come up on the screen, give us a clearer idea of what he might be heading for here in the last few 100 meters. He's got less than a kilometer to go. 56.58, 57 minutes on the clock now. He's pouring it on. The crowds will grow and grow as he approaches the line. A little glance over his shoulder there, that's not necessary. Get your head down and chase the finish line. Come on, 57.15 on the clock. Rodrigo Quezada in his home city, Bujumbura, in Castellon in Spain, where he trains a lot, in Addis Ababa, in Ethiopia, where he trains a lot. They will be punching the air with the caliber of this run. This has been quite magnificent. He has destroyed a really strong field here at this 26th edition of the Generali Prague Half Marathon. He's still working hard towards the line. There it is. Look at the clock. He's going to get under 58 minutes here today, I think. He's pouring it on over this last couple of 100 meters. This has been historic. This will be one of the quickest times in history. Very, very few athletes have ever gone below 15.8 minutes for the half marathon. This will be one of the quickest times ever by this man. And watch the clock. Will it be under 58 minutes? I don't think so, but it'll be mighty fast. 58.12 there unofficially for Quezada. It's a new personal best. Wow, that is so quick. Quezada has run a new course record, there's no doubt about that. A new national record for him. And here is Samuel Chabole Masai. His personal best was 58.59. He comes towards the line, and it's going to be a big PB for him. 58.59 it was from Razal Kaimer a few weeks ago. He crosses the line there unofficially in 58.47, something like that. He sets a personal best by about 12 seconds. And that time, 58.12, I got it unofficially, puts him about the 12th or 13th fastest man in history. Only 7 men have ever gone under 58 minutes. He was close to it today, but he was all on his own those last few kilometers. He can go quicker, there's no doubt about it. Here is the third place athlete coming home, James Kipkoech. Looks like James Kipkoech to me. And he's going to be a long way under. 59.28 unofficially there for Kipkoech. And that for him is a massive personal best by over 20 seconds. And about 59.40 there for Calipus. Just looking for the full name of that athlete, goodness me. Here is Moses Chariot. He eases through in just under 60 minutes. He does get through in about 59.58. I got it. So the first 5 men at least below 60 minutes. I didn't see the red vest of Gebrselassie come home, but he was up there in 3rd place. I must have missed him. If I did, apologies. This is Leonard Barseton, his first race in almost 2 years, and he's going to be just outside 60 minutes. It's been a great run from him. Barseton there comes through in about 60.32. Wow. Several of these fellas hung on so long to a pace they couldn't maintain that maybe they've struggled over the final few kilometers. Barseton, I suspect, amongst them. But unofficially, that winning time, 58.12 for Quizera. This is Jona Matejko. He's a 61.16 athlete. He's going to be very close to that. He's not on the red carpet yet. I think he's going to be just outside his personal best. He too may be committed. The man who lives in Kaptagat, trains in Kaptagat, he crosses the line there in what, about 61.17, something like that. Matejko, 61.17, and that would be almost spot on his lifetime best of 61.16 from Dubai, about 6 weeks ago. Teshoma Mekonnen, well, he's a 60.02 performer, and he's hobbling here. He's struggling to get through. He's going to be around 61.45, the former Ethiopian who runs for the USA these days. Been an American since December 22, was 5th in Houston Marathon back in January in 2:13. And he comes home in around 61.50, something like that. He'll be disappointed with that. 60.02 is best from Valencia 8 years ago, and he almost 2 minutes outside that here today. Now Kitonga in the women's race. Already a super fast time in the men's race. Can she hold it together here through her final couple of kilometers and produce something very special? She's at about 20k, 19.8k. I think she might have been suffering this last few minutes because I think she has slowed a little bit. We've seen several times maybe Dirangu, her pacemaker, encouraging her home, encouraging her along. But I think she's suffering now. Maybe went out a little bit too optimistically. Diriba coming home now. He runs something around 62.40. That's Diriba Garma Mamo. Now his best was 63.02, so he's done well. He's set a personal best by about 20-25 seconds. It is a day for personal bests if you judge it right. Same with any race, I guess, in good conditions. If you misjudge your effort, go out too hard, don't save enough for the full distance, then you will really suffer in the latter stages. Dirangu here. Well, he's as I said, a 27-21 performer on the track, the 32-year-old male pacemaker for the women here. Encouraging Caroline Makandi Gitonga through these final kilometers. The head is rolling a little bit there for Gitonga. Her personal best 66.26. I think she's on schedule to break that, although she has slowed this last few kilometers, there's no doubt about it. That was last September in Ravenna in Italy, where she was a victor. And I think she's going to be a victor today. We haven't seen the chasing pack for quite a long time. Well, here's the best of the Czech men, Jan Frisch. Moving along nicely, but he's set off with the leading women, and I'm not sure that he's heading for something here that he'd be particularly happy with. He's run 3:37 for 1,500 meters. He's been training in the Sierra Nevada in Spain. He's doing a lot of his work on a treadmill there because there was so much snow, but it's at about 2,300 meters. His coach Hakim Saleh will be watching this, who was himself a good 800-meter runner. But his training partner Damian Vich, who is doing Berlin tomorrow and is aiming for sub-62, will be watching this one and might be a little bit disappointed with this performance from Jan Frisch because he's heading here for something around 65 minutes. His best from Naples back in February, 65.22. And he's got a little battle on his hands here with Eric Hiller of Germany. Hiller is a 63.45 performer. He's over a minute outside that, but he comes across the line there in what, 65.01, something like that does Jan Frisch. Along with Hiller. He crossed the line, almost dead heating there. Well, it is a personal best for Jan Frisch. 65.22 was his best from Naples, some 5 weeks ago. But I think he was hoping for a little bit quicker today, maybe around the 63.5, 64 range. Kitonga then, being encouraged by her race-long companion, the pacemaker John Minor Dirangu, who has done a wonderful job. Caroline Makandi Kitonga into the last couple of 100 meters. 66.26 is her personal best. That is under real threat here. She is going to run a personal best. It's not going to be a race record. That remains the former world record by Joycelyn Jepkosgei back in 2017, 64.52. But it will be quick. And if she can get her skates on, it could be under 66 minutes. I don't think it's going to be. She's not on the red carpet yet. She has suffered. It's almost been a race of two halves from her. She was so aggressive through the first half. Set it up wonderfully, but maybe it was a little bit too optimistic. Here she comes then. The women's winner in this 26th edition of the Generali Prague Half Marathon is indeed Caroline Makandi Kitonga. Crosses the line there unofficially in 66.16. It is a personal best from her by about 10 seconds. And she has given absolutely her all. Fabulous running too in the latter stages by Jessica Chalanga. She's going to take second place. Second here back in 2024. Second here again today. It's not going to be a personal best, but she crosses the line there in what, 66.45, something like that. Still fabulous running. The rest of them coming across the line. I think that's Cintiero, Haile Michael, almost exactly in 67 minutes. Great running by these athletes as they come through. I think that's David Vash of Czechia, coached by Robert Stefko. The 35-year-old has just run a massive personal best there by about 45 seconds. David Vash. His previous best was back in Prague 2019. Said he was inspired by the great Emil Zatopek. He's a Barcelona FC fan, but he is one of those with a personal best here today. 104 coming through. I haven't got a name for him, I'm afraid. But he's working hard here, pumping hard with those arms to keep the legs coming through. Under 68 minutes then. And he's clearly happy with that. Well, we can catch up with the men's winner, Rodrigo Quizera, now. And here he is after that win in 58.12.
You defended your victory. How difficult was it?
Thank you so much. So I'm very happy for run a course record, and then but it's very hard, but I am very happy.
When you decided, it was nearly at the finish, at last kilometer. So did you feel strong?
Yeah, yes, but last K, I was finished, push very fast because I want to world record the course. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Well, it was, of course, a new course record here in Prague, 58.12, unofficially taking over from the course record of Sebastian Sawe from 2 years ago when the Kenyan ran 58.24. He won by 37 seconds on that occasion. And actually the winning margin of Quizera here today was actually very similar. I reckon around 35 seconds ahead of Samuel Chibole Masai. He opened up that gap in just the last 3 kilometers or so. Brilliant run from Masai, who did indeed set a personal best by, I think, about 10 seconds, maybe 12 seconds. He is the leading Brit in the race, and there are over 2,000 Brits in the race today, by the way. Natasha Wilson, she was Natasha Cockram, and her lifetime best, 70.06, and so she's running a huge personal best here. She's going to be under 70 minutes. Crosses the line there, 69.53 unofficially. That's a big step forward for the Brit at the age of 33. Well, she was 15th in Copenhagen back in September. not quite sure just yet of her position in the race today, but 69.53, punching through the 70-minute barrier. That's a big step forward for Natasha Wilson. Great running from her. She's a 2:24 marathon runner. I'm sure she's got a spring marathon in her sights. I don't know if it's London or Paris or Boston or what, but that augurs well for her next marathon outing. She ran 2:24 when she was 10th in Valencia just last December, but she might be onto something a bit quicker now after that PB here today in Prague. And here is the leading Czech athlete, Teresa Rokova. Well, is she heading for a personal best here? I think she probably is. It's been a good run from the Czech 30-year-old. Her personal best is 71.38. The Czech national record is 71.01. She's going to be just outside that, not much outside it. Her personal best 71.38 when she was 22nd in the European Championships in Rome a couple of years ago in June 24. But is she going to get a personal best? It's going to be tight. 71.38 is her personal best. I don't think she's going to get under it. She might just miss it here. It's been a determined run from her. She's had a wonderful year so far. Big personal best in Valencia over 10K and in Seville over the full marathon distance. But she's going to be just outside her personal best here today. Crosses the line there in 71.50. Unofficially, Teresa Rokova, to pronounce it as the Czechias, as the Czechs would pronounce it, Rokova. I got her at 71.50, a really solid run. The Pilsen athlete, coached by Vladimir Botunek, trains alone, not married. Said her favorite movie is Forrest Gump. She's run very, very well today. Forrest Gump, I'm sure, will be proud of her. She runs for the Skoda Pilsen Club. Other top Czech athletes coming through. And Misa Bortnichkova. This is coming home wearing F18. She's a 78.27 athlete, the 22-year-old, so she has run a huge personal best. She comes through in that multicolored strip any second. Here she is, Misa, as she's done, Mikhaila Brotnichkova. Her personal best, 78.27. She's just run 73.08 unofficially. She has just lopped well over 5 minutes of her lifetime best. That was in Olomouc last year. She ran 78.27. Today, unofficially, 73.08. Fabulous stuff from Brotnichkova. Well, there will be amongst many of these national and club standard athletes from a variety of nations many, many personal bests. That is clear. They're running so well. And Vendi coming through. This is Vendula Sukalova. Now, her personal best, 75.40. She's going to be well inside that as well. That was in Naples back in February. She's only 19 years old. Is Vendula Sukalova. Vendi to her mates. Vendi on her bib. And this has been a quite magnificent run from her. She's improving from 75.40. She's going to set a personal best here by way over a minute. There she is in the white T-shirt, unassuming, grimacing as she comes to the line, crosses the line there. 74.25 unofficially. Personal best by about a minute and 15 seconds. Well, now we can catch up with the leading lady, Caroline Makanda-Gitonga. She looked absolutely spent at the finish line. Let's hope she's in good enough shape to be talking to our interviewer.
Caroline, you are the winner. What does it mean for you?
I'm so happy. I've been training for a few months. Was training purposely for this race. I wanted a PB 65, and also I was looking forward to win. but I didn't make 65. But I'm happy for winning a big race like this, and yes, I'm happy.
Was it tough race?
To be honest, yes. I didn't expect to be ups and down, but yeah, but I've enjoyed the race, the crowd, cheering. It was so cool. Yeah.
Congratulations so much.
Thank you so much.
Very cool indeed, Caroline Makandi Gitonga with that victory there. Saying she was hoping to get under 65 minutes. She'd have loved to move her personal best down among the 65s, but she won here today in 66.17. There's confirmation of the win in the men's race. Rodrigo Quer of Burundi retains his title, winning very, very comfortably indeed from Samuel Chibole Masai in that men's race. In the men's race. Teresa Lajdova coming home there in a personal best for her. It was 77.56. She's just crossed the line in about 77.43, something like that. Well, here's confirmation of that men's result once more. 58.16, the official winning time for Quizera ahead of Masai. 58.48. Moses Chariot, 60 minutes exactly in 7th place. So the first 6 below 60 minutes here today in the wake of that 58.16 clocking of Quizera. A new course record here in the Prague Half Marathon. Brilliant running, and a course record by, 8 seconds, taking over the Marco Sawe from 2 years ago. Well, they continue to pour across the line. 78 minutes on the clock here in the Prague Half Marathon. Yet again, Prague has delivered in spectacular style. Tough running for some of these fellas. Probably quite a few of them wondering why they're wearing long sleeves or caps in this glorious sunshine. It's turning into quite a warm morning here in the Czech capital. It was very cool earlier on. According to my phone, it's still only 8 or 9 degrees here in Prague, but the sunshine making it feel warmer, I'm sure. It is truly glorious. And there, Caroline Makandi Gitonga's time confirmed at 66.16, Chalanga at 66.45. Great running from her in 2nd place. And the rest of them coming home. Natasha Wilson, new personal best for the Brit there in 7th place, 69.54. The first 7 below 70 minutes in that women's race. Well, the presentation's coming up shortly as you see this rather glorious view. Top left of picture, you can see a couple of turrets there. That is Prague Castle, the largest castle in the world. It's a real Gothic masterpiece. It includes St. Vitus's Cathedral, the Old Royal Palace, St. George's Basilica, fabulous gardens that are a real delight to walk through. It's one of dozens of stunning visitor attractions here in the city of Prague. Well, time for those presentations. In third place, Owen Kapkama of Kenya, the 19-year-old who set off so aggressively. In second place, stubborn resistance from Samuel Chibole Masai of Kenya to finish in the silver medal position behind the winner, Rodrigue Quizera. Big step up for him, but takes it in his stride quite comfortably, as he did the win today. 58 minutes 16 for Quizera. Quite magnificent run. And that puts him, by my reckoning, 15th on the world all-time list. Quite fantastic from Quizera.
The CFO of Generali will hand over the medals, the best free man of the final standing. Na třetím místě za 58. Na druhém místě za 58.
What more can you say about Quizera other than his homing in on quicker and quicker times, and surely we'll go sub 58 very soon. 58.16 here today, and of course there's one or two little undulations. You might have heard the women's winner Gitonga there alluding to the ups and downs. Well, of course there are one or two ups and downs. It's not a dead flat course, but it is a very fast course, and I think athletes who have run well here today know they can go a little bit quicker, but Prague has ticked all the boxes that could have been asked of it here today. That time from Gitonga, as we hear the Burundi national anthem. Just confirming for you, 66.17. Well, the Burundian national anthem ringing out there for 26-year-old Rodrigue Quizera, who has retained his title here at the Prague Half Marathon. It was a new course record, 58.16. It's the 5th fastest time in the world this year. It was not only a course record, it was obviously a national record for him, a new personal best to boot. And a man who helps his family with the money from his running, he was saying to me, has a house in Bujumbura, has 4 brothers living with him. He's a Real Madrid fan. His inspiration, a certain Haile Gebrselassie, and he and his manager Monica Pont have done a wonderful job in preparing him for this one today. He's training with Yomif Kijelcha. Well, obviously some of the stardust from Kijelcha is rubbing off for Quizera, as we see these pack runners moving through, mass runners moving through. Some of them finding it a little bit tough in the latter stages. They've been out there now for 1 hour, 25 minutes. It's not warming up by much, though, to be fair. It's still glorious running conditions here. It's more about, I think, on a day like this, of how you judge your effort through the full 21K. If you get it right, you'll come up with an optimal result. Talking of optimal results, Quizera must love racing on the streets of Prague. When he came here last year, he'd never broken 60 minutes and he won with 58.54. Today, he takes another massive step forward, 58.16 here today. He improves by 48 seconds here today. Quite a stunning run from Quezada. Waiting for that women's presentation now for the leading trio. Well, touch wood, it looks like these hundreds of athletes pouring through across the line have got around the course okay. Let's hope all 17,000 do that. 117 nationalities represented today, over 17,000 running. And just to remind you how popular this race is because of Prague, what it offers. Those 17,000 places sold, when they opened entries a while back, they sold in 2 hours, 23 minutes. If you want to enter the Prague Half Marathon next year, you'd better watch out for when they open entries. Sign up, make sure you get the emails, and get your name in there very quickly. The numbers that turn up at this rate are quite astonishing. The numbers from different cities around the world, different nations around the world. Over 2,200 Germans running today, over 2,100 Brits. Huge representation from Spanish athletes, Italians, the Danes, the Portuguese, the French, the Dutch, Poles and Slovakians. I can tell you, this is how popular this race is. 269 runners from Brazil running today. 68 runners have traveled over from Colombia. 247 from the USA. It is a magnet for runners. Well, time for this women's presentation ceremony. In third place, Cynthia Chalanga Chepkwony. Jessica Chalanga finishing in second place, 66.45 her time. And the winner here today in a time of 66.17, a personal best by 9 seconds. Caroline Makandi Gitonga. Well, she won a big 10K in Castellón back in late February. Here in late March, she wins a big half marathon. There's 26th edition of the Generali Prague Half Marathon. The title is hers. She did suffer in the latter stages. I think she set off incredibly aggressively. I think she'd have been in the mid to low 65s if she had been able to hold her early race form, but she did suffer after a very, very optimistic start. Wanted to go below 66 minutes, came so close, but eventually winning 66.17. Gitonga in second place there is Jessica Chalanga. All smiles from her. Her 8th half marathon this. She's more established at 10K. She's run 8 times under 31 minutes for 10K. Very modest track personal best, but Caroline Gitonga, well, a great road racer. Ran 51.34 for 10 miles in Amsterdam last September. She won that Castellón 10K back in late February in 29.34 by 11 seconds. That was the same race, incidentally, where Megan Keith of Britain set a European record for 10K on the roads of 30.07, and Ailish McColgan was a fighting 6th with 30.36. But here is that Kenyan national anthem.
Cynthia Chalanga Chepkwony, Jessica Chalanga
Well, I can't tell you that it's been a good day for the bank manager of Rodrigo Quizera. He got a €20,000 bonus for breaking 58.30. His prize money was €5,000. It was a good day at the office for the men's winner. And for the women's winner as well, yeah, $5,000 for that victory for Caroline Gitonga. It's been a wonderful day here. Wins for Quizera of Burundi in the men's race. He retains his title in a super fast time of